Another Johnny's Ranger adventure. So we drove all the way up there and pulled off onto the dirt. And the first thing you do when you hit the dirt is you air down. So once we had our tires properly inflated, we were back on the road, headed up to the campsite. The first thing we ran into was the shooting range. Walter and Johnny and Steve, they all came out to greet us, and I introduced Will to everybody. Then we mounted back up and went up to the next level where everyone was camping. So as we go up here, you can be able to see, well, the outhouse there, that's ever important. Then we rolled into camp, a little muddy from the previous week, and there was George. And we parked and we set in for the evening. The next day, we drove out to Stovepipe Wells. And from there, we decided that we were going to go over to Titus Canyon. Titus Canyon is beautiful, and it is on a one-way road that goes through the desert. Here we are turning onto the desert. You can see, luckily, that it had been regraded. As we worked our way up, we came up to the pass, and at the very top, we decided it was time for a photo op. There's Ralph's rail, looking good. We continued on and into Leadfield. Leadfield was a boom town for a little while, and then it just was deserted in like 6 months. But we pulled in, had some fun with food, and then continued on into Titus Canyon. Titus Canyon is known for being very tight rock formations that we move through. So you can see here just how small this was and how beautiful it is. And then all of a sudden you break into Death Valley. Once we hit the road again, we decided to go north to Ubihi Crater. Ubihi Crater is a formation that was formed about 2,000 years ago when some water hit magma and blew out a 500-foot hole. What was it like on that day? Had some times for some photo ops before we headed back on the road and headed towards home, which was pretty far. So in the time that we left Ubihi Crater to the time that we got up to the campsite turnoff, it was getting kind of dusky and then finally got dark as we pulled in for the evening festivities on Friday night. It was gorgeous.
There we go! We have deployment!
I love rockets. So we then decided we were going to go up to Lookout City, which is up this very treacherous road. Just bumping and going along, ran into our first big obstacle. Kind of looked around there and decided, wow, okay, well, we got to do something about this. Let's go get some help. First, we got to move some rocks in here and make this ramp. Will gets involved, and we start figuring out how we're going to do that, what we're going to move. Walter comes up, more rocks, more rocks. Yeah, we're doing some road building, moving some other things out. Bill gets involved. I think he'll toss a rock on there. There's Ralph throwing some rocks in there. And then, all right, it's time to mount up. Let's give this thing a try. Oh, and Andy, he looked at it and gave a few pointers because he was the next one up after I went through. And okay, we'll move a rock. Here we go. All right, coming forward, 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 forward. We got lots of people helping us. Made it over the top. All right, got to keep on going here. So we keep working our way up through this creek, and gosh, there was just tons of rocks. I didn't think we were going to make it for a while there, and it's just like, well, let's try and move this one. Well, can't move that one. Well, this one at least we can get out of the way. Ralph shows his more manly side and get a few more people kind of thinking about how we're going to drive through this thing. And okay, time to mount up. Oh, there's Tim. And we go through and over that. Oh, yeah, well, we made it. Okay, well, let's keep going. We climbed all the way to the tippy top of Lookout City, and there we were. It was worth a celebration. Gorgeous, gorgeous view. You can see here, we could see all the way from the top of Panamint Valley all the way down to the bottom. Stunning. Then we headed back down. It was starting to get a little bit later. You can see we pull into camp, and everyone started to tell their tales about everything that was going on. And then we had Saturday night. The next day we got up and we did a little group shot. There's Carson. He's chewing on some gloves. Nice doggy. Well, then everybody packed up just as fast as they could, and then we headed back home. Going down one last time out of the beautiful area, but before you finally get back onto concrete, you got to air up. After airing up, we headed home, wrapping up another great adventure with Johnny's Rangers.